Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to start to talk about nutrition. I still have a cold, I do apologise. I'm also about to make an appearance. There we go. So, to lose weight, to gain weight, to maintain weight, that is the question. Now, once you decide on your answer to that question, depending on your goals, the strategy is then this. You use the following formula or equation. Energy in minus energy out. If energy in minus energy out is a deficit, you will lose weight. If energy in minus energy out is a surplus, you will gain weight. If energy in minus energy out are equal, you will stay the same weight. It is no more complicated than this. However, simple does not mean easy. Weight management is actually very simple in theory, but a lot harder to apply in real life. Your body requires a certain amount of energy or food to both survive and to function in the activities you normally go about in your everyday lives. If your goal is to lose weight, you have to create a deficit between the energy or food your body takes in and the energy or fuel it burns. You create this deficit by either reducing your food intake or by burning more energy through activity, or ideally both. Similarly, in order to increase weight, and preferably that's muscle as opposed to fat tissue, you must create an energy surplus by once again either altering exercise volume or by increasing food intake, or again, ideally by combining both. So how do we measure this energy or fuel we are referring to? In calories. Now, what is a calorie? A calorie is very simply a measurement. It is a measurement of energy. Now, to get really technical, and this is for illustration purposes only, you really don't need to memorize this unless you want to. A calorie is the amount of heat or energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So the calorie is the way you measure both the energy you put into your body and also the energy your body uses or burns. In the same way we measure a room using centimeters, we measure food using calories. Calorie is neither good or bad, any more than a centimetre or other unit of measurement is good or bad. But there is sometimes a stigma around calories. One of the most common objections I hear when it comes to nutrition and in particular weight management is, I don't want to count calories. That's a bit like saying you want to measure a wall but don't want to use centimetres. Or you want to know how much money you will earn but you don't want to count it in pounds or dollars. In fact, the analogy is quite good. It is actually quite similar to a financial equation. In order to know your current financial position, you would have to know how much money you have either earned or saved, and then also know how much you spent or have spent in order to calculate the difference between the two and a net worth or financial position, whether that's a surplus or deficit, this time of funds. In the same way, in order to either lose weight or gain weight, depending on your goal, you will have to know how much energy or food you consume or put into your body, along with how much energy your body uses or burns in order to create either the deficit or surplus to achieve the weight loss or the weight gain that you desire. A calorie is not a component of food in the way that protein, fat, carbohydrates, vitamins and minerals are. It is the way we measure all of those components. And in fact, a calorie is currently the only way you can measure those components. There is no way you can get around it. And there is no way you can fool it either. You may have come across various theories about eating at certain times of the day, eating certain types of carbohydrates, and a raft of other attempts to get around counting calories. But the point is, all of those factors are actually already built into the idea of a calorie. A calorie simply measures the amount of energy that is released when the food that you eat is used by your body in whatever way that particular food is needed. And yes, the number of calories varies between, for instance, a whole grain carbohydrate and a faster acting carbohydrate, between, for instance, whole grain bread and white bread. But you still have to account for, or actually count, the calories for whichever type of carbohydrate you are eating. And any weight change is still attributable not to the type of carbohydrate it is, but to its calorie count or energy measurement. All diets work if the diet creates a change in the energy equation. It doesn't matter whether that diet happens to be keto, paleo, Atkins, Weight Watchers, any diet. If you lose weight whilst on a diet, it is because you reduced your calories. Conversely, if it doesn't work, then it's because it didn't create that deficit, or it didn't reduce calories enough or by the right amount. For example, let's say you're on a diet that reduces carbohydrates, which you do, but because you were hungry, you increase the quantity of fats and proteins, thinking it's the carbohydrates that really count. Then you wouldn't lose weight. You'd probably come away from that diet disappointed that it didn't work, but in fact it was because you hadn't, in the end, altered the equation to create the deficit. And similarly, those who follow any kind of fasting diet will probably swear it is the secret to losing weight. But in fact, it works simply because by restricting food to certain times, it's highly likely you have also reduced your overall calorie intake. Now, this might prove contentious with some people, especially if they have a diet they've tried and that has worked, or a belief in a certain diet method or certain foods or alternative strategies. But in my 20 years of doing this for a living, and even more years applying the principles in my own life, I have never seen any evidence to disprove the energy equation. It is a truth, a law, if you like, a law of thermodynamics. Create a deficit in energy and you lose weight. Create a surplus in energy and you will gain weight. So how do we do this? How do we calculate or count both the calories or energy you consume along with the calories or energy you use or burn? I like that slide. There are, as we have seen, two sides to the equation. I'm going to suggest focusing on the energy in or calorie intake first. We have to track or record how many calories we are putting into the body. My experience is if you do this first, it has additional benefits. It makes you aware of the food habits in a way that you might not have been aware of before. It requires a level of honesty with yourself. It requires a certain amount of effort and commitment, and so is developing a new and powerful habit. If you have ever done a similar tracking experiment with your personal finances or spending habits, and I've done this, it's often surprising, even shocking, in revealing things you may not have been aware of previously. You look back on the results and think, wow, am I really spending this much on such and such? It can be similar with tracking food. You might look back on your food diary and think, wow, do I really consume that much of such and such? When I first started in this industry, tracking food was a laborious process involving food diaries and databases, and you were lucky if you could actually find a good database online as well. It used to be via the pages of textbooks. But now there are a number of very good apps and websites that do the job for us and which frankly make the process unbelievably easier. I'm going to recommend a choice of two such pieces of software, and they are both free to use. Both allow an upgrade to a premium service if you wanted it, but there really isn't the need as part of this course. The free version is more than adequate for both. They are MyFitnessPal and Chronometer, and you will find the links to download them somewhere accompanying this video. It is completely your choice as to which one you use, or in fact, if you already have a different tracking app or website, then that's okay too. In fact, I already know some of you do, and that's fine. Use the one that you have and that you're familiar with. They're all different and have different approaches and indeed slightly different databases too, so it is a matter of personal preference. If you wanted, you could download both of those that I've just mentioned, try both for a while and see which one you prefer. By the way, they're also on my website as well. If you go to my website, you'll find a download link for both of them. Try inputting your favorite foods or the foods you most commonly eat and see which database has the best matches for you. By the way, it's my personal training website rather than the yoga website that has the links. I need to point out that if you use my link to register for Chronometer, even a free account, it will give me a very small commission for that new sign up, but I am in no way saying that that is my preference or that it should be yours either. I recommend trying both. MyFitnessPal just doesn't have the same affiliate program currently. It's equally great software. It's down to your personal preference which one you use. Task for today then. Download and try these tools. Record all of your food and drink over the course of the entire day, if possible, every day. But please don't panic if you can't do this all of the time or every day. At this stage, we're trying to get an overall picture, but one that is as accurate as possible. If you have any problems, I am here to help in the usual way, and the best of luck. And I'd like to finish on that slide again.